Thank you, Chair Watson-Coleman, Ranking Member Jimenez, Chair Thompson, and Ranking Member Katko for convening this hearing on the current threats to aviation security and the people on the front lines who are confronting the longest sustained turbulent times in the history of our industry. I am a 25-year flight attendant and president of our union, representing flight attendants at 17 airlines across the industry, as well as passenger service agents and ground service workers with our partner union, the Communications Workers of America. Over the course of this entire year, we've experienced more disruptions in the skies and in airports than we've seen during the entire history of aviation. While this is a relatively small group of people compared with the overwhelming number of travelers who want to follow the rules and have a safe, uneventful flight, the rate at which they are acting out is at a frequency that is way out of hand. At best, these individuals are creating a horrible experience for everyone. At worst, they are putting the safety and security of everyone traveling at risk. The constant refusal to comply with safety instructions is often coupled with swearing and racist, sexist, homophobic language, with the threat of violence or outright physical attack. I am disturbed to report some flight attendants have been so traumatized by these attacks they are hesitant to leave their hotel, their homes, or sometimes even the aircraft when law enforcement has failed to detain violent or threatening offenders. This has the effect of making workers question whether to go back to work, hesitant in performing safety duties or directing safety in the cabin. Dealing with a disruptive passenger used to be a rare event and a really bad day at work. But today, flight attendants and other aviation workers are aware before every trip, every shift, and our families are too, that when we put on our uniforms, we are donning a target for abuse, harassment, and violence. We cannot accept this as the new normal. Flight attendants are begging, make it stop. Aviation is about bringing people together, not tearing them apart. It's the backbone of our economy and an expression of freedom. But this committee also knows the threats that still exist for commercial aviation and efforts to use it as a weapon against our country or peace around the world. Failing to put a check on the rise in disturbances on the plane puts us in jeopardy of missing cues of a coordinated attack and hands tools to those who wish to do us harm. We can take steps to disrupt these disturbing trends and maintain aviation security. We recommend these critical steps. 1, DOJ must act with urgency to conduct criminal prosecution. People need to understand consequences are severe and real. Consistent communication and enforcement of masks and alcohol policies in the airport. Ban to-go alcohol in airport and in-airport alcohol delivery. Increase staffing at the gate and on planes. Enlist everyone in the aviation ecosystem in efforts to communicate policies and identify or report potential disruptions to keep problems on the ground. Create a centralized list of violators to be used by all airlines for denying flights on all airlines for offenders. Relevant House and Senate committees should work with urgency to enact legislation that expands FBI concurrent jurisdiction to include the jet bridge in order to ensure enforcement of federal crimes for violence that occurs when the airplane door is open. Finally, it is well past time for crew member self-defense training and to make it mandatory and included in initial and recurrent flight attendant paid airline training overseen by TSA. In 2004, after the 9/11 Commission recognized the need for this training, we testified before this committee stating, on 3 separate occasions, Congress has specifically acknowledged the need for this training: the Air Transportation Security Act, the Homeland Security Act, and the 2003 FAA reauthorization bill. Yet these many attempts to provide flight attendants with meaningful security training have not been successful, end quote. Let's finally make this training accessible as a tool for flight attendants who serve our nation as aviation's last line of defense. Thank you again so much for this hearing and attention on this critical issue, and I look forward to your questions.